This game is probably the toughest one to call this week. Sea Eagles versus Rabbitohs, and 8th versus 9th. So much to play for. If Souths win, the gap between 8th and 9th becomes 6 points. If the Sea Eagles win, they close that gap just to 2. And I can't see either team realistically giving the other one an inch in this one. It's going to be very, very tough. Johns comes in for Souths. Surprisingly, Thompson will play for the Seagulls this week after only what could be described as him developing some sort of forked tongue over the weekend and having to have that stitched back together in one of the most gruesome injuries I've ever seen on a rugby league field. It's beyond comprehension just how tough these players are. But how do you see this one playing out?
Geez, mate, that's a nasty way to describe it, but you're not too wrong there. A tough one to pick. Ruben Garrick back at fullback. You can't help but think that old mate Albert Hopewadi would have been a shout if he hadn't gone to the Warriors for a loan. Tafua to the wing. It puts Tapau back into the prop position, coming back after a couple of weeks off. Trebojevic to lock. Corey Waddell back to the pine, and Jackie G back into the reserves. Interesting to see that Adam Fanua-Blake is named in the 21. So keep an eye out on that. As for the Bunnies, just Bailey Sirenen coming back into the run-on side. Jack Johns moves onto the bench. Liam Knight getting nicely acquainted with the match review committee. So he's out through suspension. Yeah. I don't know. That's the best way to describe this game. It's look, just looking at the team list, not going off anything else, I'm going to say the Rabbitohs. But look, if Cust and Cherry Evans try to wiggle their way around like they did last week, maybe, Manly? Maybe?
So I watched Souths last week, and I obviously backed against them. I said Cowboys. But they didn't get up convincingly. I'm still very annoyed about that game. The Seagulls as well, narrowly losing out. So, I mean, this one really could go either way. So, if you want a safety bet on this one, you take either team 1-12. You take the under and you take either team 1-12, just because there's going to be a lot of defensive. There's going to be a lot of defensive work. Both teams have got far too much to lose, because if Souths let that gap close, their run home isn't the most pleasant, as is the Seagulls. The Seagulls, this pretty much ends their season if they lose this weekend. I know that there's 5 games left, but what are the chances that Souths drop 3 and they pick up 3? So I'm pretty sure as well Souths have got the better for and against as well, so the Seagulls can't even rely on that. The only thing that does concern me about the Seagulls is that although Brendan Elliott isn't what I'd regard as a decent fullback, he was still a ball-playing fullback to the likes of Trebojevic that also had a slight running game, whereas Garrick doesn't have a ball-playing game. He's a runner. You see time and time again when teams try to use a winger as a fullback, all that it means is that if that fullback chimes into a play around the back, he just runs it himself. He either gives it too early and it doesn't offset the line, or he just runs himself. So I think the Souths will be aware of that, and obviously Souths have got Latrell Mitchell there. He had a bit of a stinker last week, a few drop balls. It's just, if Mitchell drops one ball, then that's it. His confidence is completely shattered, and you've lost him for the game. So I'm wary of that for Souths as well, and that's why I'm on the head-to-head. I'm going to go Manly.
Ooh.
I'm going to say for tips. Yeah, I'm going to make this one a bit spicy this week. I'm going to go Manly. I'm going to go either team 1-12. So if you are feeling more risky, go Seagulls 1-12. I'm going to say take the under on this one, just because I think there's going to be a lot of defensive effort. Manly are a team that teams basically struggle to post points against. I know that I say that while the Knights put 26 on them last week, but I can see that this one's going to be a very defensively minded game.
Sorry, I just want to clarify something really quickly. The Sea Eagles are a team that teams struggle to put points against. That's what you said, right?
That's right.
Let me run you through their last 8 games. Let me run you through their last 8 games. Conceded 26 v Newcastle, 26 v the Warriors, 42 v Penrith, 12 against the Cowboys, 18 against Parramatta, 34 against the Dragons, 14 against the Newcastle in the wet, 40 against Cronulla. But teams struggle to put points on against them.
So let's go through that list. The Sharks have got the second best attack in the league. The Panthers currently sit top of the table. At the time when they played Parramatta, they were also top of the table. Who else were on that list? The Warriors. The Warriors are massively unpredictable. They'll either show up and score 50 or show up and concede 50. So I think that there's a few teams in there that the scoreline justifies, but in games where the Seagulls should be winning or thereabouts, teams do struggle to post up points, and I can see Souths struggling to post up points here. But still, it's going to be a close game. So take the under, take the Seagulls 1-12, or the either team 1-12, depending on how safe or risky you want to take this one.
Okay. The under, by the way, 43.5 for those who are wondering, as of about 5:30 on Tuesday afternoon. Sponsor us, please, Sportsbet. Yeah, this is not a nice one to pick. In the last 5, it went 34-26 to Souths. Oh, hang on a minute. Am I doing my math right? Yep. 2 of the last 3 have gone to a 1-point margin. And then Souths win by 28. Manly wins by 38. Can't really do math this afternoon. Alrighty. Good to know. In terms of any tips, look, I don't really know, to be honest. I'm struggling here looking at Sportsbet, trying to figure out what I want to give yous, but I'm not really seeing much. All right. I think I've got something. We're going to multi this one. Bunnies going on the head-to-head, and take note, this is the value tip of the week for me. Dane Gagai, he's in a rich vein of form. He's paying $2.50 for anytime try scorer. So we're going to go with him. I think there's going to be a lot of points because I'm not really sure about either team's defense right now, if I'm being perfectly honest. So we're going to go the over 43.5 on this. And I'm not quite ballsy enough to go Cade Cust for 2 weeks in a row, but I do think they're going to try and target the second row of Manly. As you mentioned, Matty, I don't think they're going to be able to quite get outside as much as they like with Ruben Garrick playing out the back. But I think what we'll see a cheeky, bustling try from Marty Tapau. I think he'll come on for his second stint. I think that he'll have one of those angled runs where he starts straight on, then starts to target towards the interchange props when they do eventually come on. So we're going with Marty Tapau as just a little bit of a, hey, how's it going? Let's throw some good value here into this multi. If we add them all together, and Lord knows that I can't do addition at the best of times, you go Gagai at $2.50, Marty Tapau paying $9 for an anytime try, and the over on the points at 43.5. We are looking at 44.50 for the multi. Now, do I think realistically this is going to get up as a multi? No, I do not. But 3 out of the 4, I think, are a good shout in the bunnies, Dane Gagai, and the over. If you take out Marty, it's 475 on that multi. Put in Marty 44.50. You take your pick on that. By the way, we also count all of these tips as singles as well, just for clarification. But if you do feel ballsy and want to put a cup of coffee on it, I think that's a shout.
Well, I think that does it there then. Thank you for joining us once more as we attempt to take you through the teams to the best of our ability, albeit limited. And thanks again to the guys over at RCR for sponsoring this video. If you would go check them out, their link's going to be in the description. Use code CKM for 20% off your entire order. Free delivery over £50 as well. I can't remember if that's just in the UK or outside the UK. Either way, go spend your money there. They deserve it. And thank you very much for joining us. We will see you for the next one as we talk about how well we did or just how badly we got this one wrong.